AI can write you emails in seconds, but it still can't decide if you should send it. That's it. That's going to be the episode. Because right now, everyone is either terrified with AI or worshipping. And both of these are wrong. AI is brilliant. You should be using it. But the business that gets this wrong in the next 12 months, they're the ones who are going to be in trouble. Decisions are still yours, not the AI's. Yours. I'm going to talk about this in this show today about where that line is. Let's get into it. So let's start with the honest part. AI is amazing. I use it loads. I'm using Claude. I use ChatGPT for some things, research, first drafts of things, admin, boring, repetitive tasks that used to eat up my week. Gone, handed over, and I really don't miss them. And if you're not using AI for the grunt work in your business right now, you're working harder than you need to. That's it. So we need to embrace it. Don't be precious about it. The repetitive stuff, the admin, the first draft thinking, AI, take that off your plate. That's not the debate that we're talking about. We're talking about something different. Here's where it gets interesting. AI can draft the email, but it can't decide whether to send it. And that's not a small distinction. That is massive because a decision carries a consequence. Reputation, financial, relationships, and AI doesn't feel any of that. You do as a human. It's your business. You've seen the news stories, same as I. AI is getting confidently but spectacularly wrong, not occasionally, but regularly. And the business that got burned are the ones that are going to be treating AI output as a decision instead of a draft. So let me talk you through this. Would you let AI send an email to your biggest client without reading it first? Would you let it decide who's getting hired, who gets let go, what the price should be? If the answer is no, it should be no, then you already know where the line is. You're just maybe not enforcing it consistently. Right now, today, handing over full decision making isn't efficient. It's a neglect dressed up as efficiency. So we've seen the news stories how AI, when it gets to make all the decisions, which is what I'm hearing from AI specialists, is in a few years' time, we're going to just be able to get agentic AI to make our decisions for us. There is still an element that AI is not good enough to be able to do that. I genuinely think we might get to the point where certain decision making will be done by AI if it's repetitive tasks and you're automating stuff. Brilliant. But those key critical decisions, I think in its current state, and maybe for quite a while, the human needs to make those decisions. So please don't rush into that situation where you automate everything and the critical things aren't being reviewed by you. So just do it now. If it gets better and we can do that, it's a different story. I'm talking about now. Now you cannot let AI make your decisions because you need the human intervention. I want to talk to you about something I got wrong early on. I thought I knew my competition. I knew their names, I'd look at their website, I'd heard what clients said about them. I thought that was enough. It wasn't. I was making positional decisions, pricing decisions, decisions that affected whether we won or we lost based on assumptions, not on evidence. That's not competitor intelligence, that's just awareness. And there is a big difference. Today, this episode is sponsored by CEO Friend, and their competitor analysis is genuinely the thing I wish I'd had before. You put in your domain, it identifies your real competitors, tells you where you're strong, where you're exposed, and what moves you should be making. It's free, ready in minutes, no sign up required to get you to your summary. If you're making growth decisions right now, pricing, positioning, entering a new market, you want to do this before you commit to anything, not after. If you go to bit.ly/4VKENXQ and run the free analysis now, And if you decide to go further into a free full trial, use the link below in the show notes and use BGT10 for 10% off. Right, let's get back into the show. So if AI is not making the decision, which I think it should be, what is it that we're actually bringing to the table? Three things. So this is what the human does. Creativity. AI remixes what already exists. It's trained on the past. Humans imagine what really doesn't exist yet. That gap. That's where every business idea I've ever had actually came from. Relationships. Businesses is still built on trust, and that trust is a human currency. Nobody builds a real relationship with a chatbot. They build it with you. And lastly, judgment. Knowing what the rules don't, when the rules don't apply, knowing when the right answers on paper is the wrong call in this specific moment with a specific person. That's not a data set, that is experience. And I'll be honest with you, I've caught myself leaning too hard on AI before, letting a draft go out closer to final than it should have been before it's been read. I've had to pull myself back. I'm catching myself. You probably need to check that yourself as well. So I just had a conversation with Rachel Minion, and this is what this episode has been inspired by, because she has automated a whole bunch of her business and she's using AI to be able to do it. But we had this big conversation in the podcast about that humans still need to make the decisions. As I said, reputationally, creatively, judgment, these are all the things that humans are the best to make. So do not rush into outsourcing absolutely everything when it comes to the decisions in your business, because people buy from people, and you need to remember that. Let's look ahead with a little bit of caution. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this will never change. Maybe there is a future where AI makes real decisions in businesses with real autonomy. I can't rule it out, but maybe someday is not today. And building your business today as if we're already there is how you're going to get burned. So the framework I'd give you is simple. AI is your co-pilot, not your pilot, always. So think about that really importantly. The relationship that you have with AI is a partner, is a relationship. You wouldn't give in a relationship all the decision making to the other person. There needs to be a back and forth. If you ask AI with a prompt and it gives you a response that you're not happy with, you'll go back and forth with it. So think of it as a partner in your business rather than your decision making CEO. It's not your CEO. You are. You are the leader. You are the founder, and you need to remember that. So think of it as an employee. Think of it as a co-pilot. Think of it as someone in a relationship. That's when you're going to be able to get the most out of AI. And I think that's where we should be aiming for. As I said, things might change and we can automate it. I'm being told by AI specialists, we are getting to the point where in maybe a few years' time, lots of decisions will be made. But those decisions will probably be repetitive decisions that are on a loop that they need to go and do. I'll give you an example. You can automate a whole bunch of outreach to someone, whether it's on email, whether it's on text, whether it's on messaging, right? And like we do some kind of automation on some of the outreach that we do. But if that person replies, you don't then send your automated email sequence once that person has responded. You have the human intervention that you go in and you start interacting with them as humans. That is the sort of example that I'm giving that AI should be in that place. Automation's great. Using AI is fantastic. I use it every day. But when on that outreach, when that person responds, you need to switch off that automation because another request is not going to work. So you need to be able to have that human intervention. So that hopefully should give you some clarity on where I'm going with this whole idea of humans are still required. Humans are still really important cog in the wheel that is talking about reputation, judgment, and things like that. So you just need to make sure that you are part of the process, and at its current state, it is not ready to make all the decisions for you and your business. So here it is. This is what I want you to take from this conversation. Automate the admin tasks, 100%. Automation, using AI to do it, fantastic. Do that. But you need to own the decisions. Let AI take the boring, repetitive work off your desk, all of it, no guilt. But the moment there's a decision, who to hire, what to send, what to charge, who to trust, that's yours. That has to stay yours currently. Ask yourself where the line is right now. And are you holding to it, or are you slowly slipping? If today's episode got you thinking, I'd love you to continue this conversation. Connect with me on LinkedIn or head to podcastintroduction.com and book a call to do with podcast guesting. If you've enjoyed this episode, do consider giving me a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. It really does help other people find the show. And lastly, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and comment. I will look through all of the comments and respond to them. And do hit a subscribe wherever you're listening and watching. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day, and on to the next one.